So the Pakistan Padel League has been announced. I'm currently traveling, so janky setup. Um, it's a difficult concept for club owners and for potential players because there's a fair bit of financials involved in it. I'll try to explain it so that if anyone wants to get into this as an investment, or if they want to look at it as a player, or they're just interested in the paddle scene, I'll walk them through it a little bit. Um, Very quickly, what it is. Then I will get into the financials and how they sort of match out in terms of the minimum amount of money that you need to be putting into this, uh, the likely amount of money that you're going to have to put into this, the benefit that could come through you, the problems in the system. I will be focusing a lot on the problems because I think there's a lot of them, and what's cool about the system in general. Okay, firstly, it's 3 crore rupees of prize money. That's fantastic. That's awesome. More prize money is just good, right? That's objectively true. This will be split across 3 different cities, which is Islamabad, Lahore, and Karachi. This will be in 3 quarters of 2026. Every city will play across 1 quarter. That is to say, every city will get 3 months of play each. And those 3 months will be divided into 3 categories. So category A, B, and C will all 3 of these will be taking 1 month each. Now, to make it easier, just imagine this to be one city circuit, right? I'm going to focus on Islamabad, but I'll give examples from Karachi and Lahore as well. For Islamabad, you're looking at potentially January, February, March. Every category will then be playing against 5 other teams of their category. So clubs are expected to buy in, or individuals who have partnered with clubs are expected to buy into this league. So what does that look like? That means that any club, and I'll stick to saying club even if it can be an individual, any club will have to be having 3 teams, which is a category C, B, and A team. By the way, I'm not a representative. I could be wrong about these things. It'd be great if they clarify if I am. So these 3 teams will be playing across January, which is category C, presumably, February, category B, and March, category A. This will be round robin, so you will be playing, every team will be playing 5 matches minimum before they go into the playoffs. 4 teams will go into the playoffs, and then teams in the playoffs will be given a prize money distribution from the 3 million rupees allotted for each, sorry, not the 3 million, the 10 million rupees allotted for each city. The top team will get 1 million rupees given to them. Sorry, got that wrong. Top performing team will get 3 million rupees given to them. Third place will get 1 million, and then nothing else is given. So you can get an idea of this. If the top club is getting 30% of the overall prize money, however, and the third club is getting about 10% of the overall prize money, then you can just sort of think in your head what the rest of that split could look like. This is where I'm going to get into the financials and the problems. So for every club to invest, there's a minimum amount of money that they need to put in. The minimum amount of money is 50,000 rupees to actually go for the bid. And then they have to bid for players who are going to be suggested to them on the basis of a trial system that the Pakistan Padel League themselves are going to run, right? So you have to invest into a category A, B, and C team. This will be an open bidding process. Yani anyone can say, "Acha, mera khayal hai ki is player ke itne paise hone chahiye." But a category A team, every player will cost a minimum of 80,000 rupees. So if a player has been categorized as category A, you have to start the bidding process at 80,000 rupees. This means that you're putting in a minimum of 160,000 rupees into category A. Category B ka minimum hai 50,000, which is a minimum of 100,000 rupees. And फिर category C का जो minimum है वो है 30,000, so a minimum of 60,000 rupees. To summarize, you're looking at a minimum investment of 270,000 rupees. This is not including any social media spend, etc., etc. This also isn't including the idea that when you're bidding, you're probably going to have to bid more than the bare minimum because you want to win, you want to do better, you want to perform highly. So you're looking at probably a minimum investment of 300,000 rupees, but I think likely you're looking closer to about 400k or so. This entire pool of money goes to the Pakistan Padel League, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly okay. But just for the sake of transparency, the Pakistan Padel League for every city, including the bidding process and the initial registration fees, are probably getting about 2 million to 2.2 million rupees across all of this into their pockets. That's still a lot less than they're putting in, right? Remember, every city they're putting in roughly 10 million, but this is a significant sum of money to them. Because obviously, even if you're saying they're putting in 20 million overall, including social media spend, etc., that's still like a 10% of your budget. That's a big deal whenever you're running a company. So for a club to make money, they either have to succeed and then get the prize money in, or they have to monetize through sponsorships. I think sponsorships is something that you really shouldn't be considering right now, because most of your sponsorship will be coming in through footfall, organic to your club. Or if you're an individual person, then you're probably not going to make any money off of sponsorship anyway, because it's complicated. Just trust me on this. Season one, probably not very much money coming in for sponsorship, if any at all. Maybe for years after that comes in. So your only way of making an ROI is by actually winning or doing well in the prizes. So you automatically want to invest more than the 300 to 400,000 rupees that I said. But let's say you're just investing that much, you've been very smart, you've still somehow managed to get some of the best players. PPL is giving you back some things. PPL is giving you a stipend to pay your players. I don't know how much that is. They haven't made that public at all. I'm sure that will be something on the basis of how many players are registering. They'll have to look at their financials, maybe revisit this. The other thing that you're going to be considering is that you also have to pay your players from the winnings. So even if the top performing club is getting, let's say, 3 million rupees, 3 million rupees becomes a lot less when you also have to split it with your 6 players. Because obviously these 6 players, every single one of these teams has to dedicate an entire month of training. They have to dedicate a very long time to actually trying to win this tournament for you. And that small amount of salary that they're going to get, or stipend they're going to get, isn't enough to justify a month-long excursion into a tournament system, right? That's something very important to keep in mind. So you're probably going to have to give away at least 50%. I think personally, any player who's watching this, I would recommend sticking to about 65% of prize money going to you, 70% even if you're very, very good. That only just makes sense financially. Right? So you're realistically looking at, even if you're winning the entire league, all you're going to get into your pocket is about 1 million rupees to 1.2 million rupees after you've had your prize money split with the players as well. That's not a lot of money, because when you're putting in 400 to 500K into a 3-month-long campaign, including then things that they've mentioned that you have to participate in social media activities, fan engagement activities, all of these things that take away court hours, that take away more of your time, that do actually come with a certain degree of investment that you need to put in for planning for the future, this is difficult to justify. The other issue is that you're not really building much here, right? In terms of fan following, you're not actually increasing your footfall either. So because, having a good, successful team isn't going to make people show up to your club more. That's not how the Pakistani paddle scene works right now. People are showing up to clubs based on convenience and more than anything else cost. This is universal. I don't think anyone would disagree with me. And if you do, please feel free to let me know however you'd like. Anyway, so making about 500K to 600K across 3 months in a very taxing activity, I don't know. That's up to you. I think this is a very fun thing personally, but in terms of just financial sense, this doesn't make sense right now. Maybe it makes sense in a year from now, when they've created enough of a product where you actually have social media viewership, you actually have like interesting statistics coming through that you can sell to sponsors. I don't think that's going to be there in year one. Now let's move on to the bigger problem, which is for the players. I think this makes very little sense for players. Number one, it's awesome that you're getting potentially a lot of prize money. I think that's great. I think it's also great that you're probably going to get a stipend for quite a while you're playing. That's awesome. All of these things provide stability, and it provides a reliable amount of matches that you're going to play, that you know that, okay, for this month, I'm basically a professional player. That's great. That's really cool. What sucks is the bidding process is individual. So you have to remember that from a player perspective, this is not a 3-month-long season. This is a 1-month-a-year season. If I'm a Category C player and I'm enrolled into, theoretically, like let's just say Padel In, because they're one of the biggest clubs in Pakistan. If I'm Padel In's official Category C player, this only applies to me for a month. I'm effectively competing for, if first prize is 3 million rupees, Category A is probably getting 1.5 million of that. Let's be perfectly honest. I'm basically competing for like a 200,000 rupee prize pool as a Category C player. If I'm a Category B player, then maybe I'm competing for like a 400,000 rupee prize pool. First place, that is. If I'm a Category A player, I'm competing for something closer to 1 million, more likely than not. But even so, this is an entire month that I'm putting in, and I have to play with a partner that I did not choose. I have to play with a partner that someone got in bidding. So, for example, Hosema and Josefa, who have a very successful partnership, Abdullah and Salar, who have a very successful partnership, Rafi and Sami, who have a very successful partnership, All of these guys are not going to be able to play with their partners, and there's a very easy reason for that, which is that there's 6 clubs bidding, and every one of them will want to get at least one flagship high-level player. So you're going to see these pairings being split up. It just doesn't make financial sense to put in like 300,000 rupees to get both of the top players. You're probably only going to be able to get one of them, and after that, your funds are going to dry up if you're looking at this kind of spend. I think this is a problem. For a player to invest this much into a month-long league where he has to then now not be able to compete in other tournaments because he's not practicing with his official partner, or he is practicing with his official partner and he doesn't care that much about this league, making this league very clearly a second-class product, that's just worse. And I want to focus a bit on the second-class product thing as well. Because as a viewer, I'm a professional commentator. I know how viewers think. As a viewer, everyone is going to stream their Padel tournaments from now on. I can tell you, 2026, everyone will be streaming. Talha Hassan's already streaming everyone's tournaments for them. He got 4 streams going on in Punjab Open. Shout out Talha Hassan. I don't know how you did it, but good job for you, man. Anyway, as a viewer, you know the difference between Abdullah and Salah playing, and let's say, for example, Abdullah and like Moiz Bhatti playing. Salah and Moiz Bhatti playing. Very respectable, very high-level Category B player in Moiz Bhatti, who might be classified as Category A because there aren't enough Category A players in Islamabad. That's very different to saying Abdullah and Salah then go up against, Hosema and Josefa. I know what the difference is. Most people who are watching Padel are incredibly high-level viewers. They're not high-level players. You all suck, so do I. It's fine. But you're very high-level viewers in the sense that all of the clips you're consuming, all the content you're consuming, it amounts to a lot of watching knowledge. So you automatically know when a product is worse. So this league will never be able to be the best broadcast product unless it outperforms monetarily to the extent where now it suddenly becomes worth it for players to make this their primary pairing, the one that they've been put with, even though it's only 1 month out of the entire year that they're going to have that pairing. It has to be financially worth it for players to completely disrupt chemistry and lose everything that they're doing for preparation and whatnot for the sake of this league. That sucks. It sucks for viewers. It sucks for players. It doesn't suck that much for club owners, but it does suck for the league. So this needs to be, I insist on this, this needs to be revisited, because you don't want to have the situation where the league by design can only ever have the second best level of play. That makes no sense. Your prize money cannot be the only thing that differentiates you, because at the end of the day, we have eyes and we will watch and we will be able to tell, oh, well, this is just objectively bad. Like, this isn't like the PSL where domestic cricket dies outside of 1 month a year. This is Padel, where domestic Padel is actually one of the most thriving ecosystems there is. You're getting massive premier level tournaments where all of the top teams are actually playing with their proper pairings every single month. We know the difference as viewers. So yeah, I don't think that makes sense. I think that really needs to be revisited. I think bidding for pairs still makes sense. The final issue is, which is why I think the bidding process just needs to be scrapped entirely, courts have invested into players already. That's happened. I mean, look at Paddleverse. You've got Rehan and Nafis. You've got, to be fair, Paddleverse has like half of Karachi on their payroll. I don't know how exactly it works, but clearly it does. Padel had Taha and Momin. They obviously have Sulaiman and whoever Sulaiman wants to play with at the time because he owns the club. That's what happens. Central right now has Rafi and Hosema. I don't know who they're going to stick with now that the team has separated. Padel Deck in Islamabad used to have Rafi and Hosema before as well. Courts are already creating relationships with players where they're trying to monetize through external sponsors by having these players go to different tournaments. Rafi and Hosema, who are signed to Central, I don't know what their contract details are like, but I know how sports contracts normally work. They're not legally going to be allowed to play under another club's name unless they give up that Central partnership. Central does not want to give up that partnership because they're actually building on it. They are trying to invest in the future. They're trying to invest in the Central brand, and they're trying to invest in a way where they can actually monetize, having top-level players in a way that's good for your league as well. Because you want the clubs to be able to do that. You want the clubs to be able to have these players all year long and continue to monetize them. Whenever you introduce a bidding process, this is the same issue that the PSL has, which is you cannot grow your franchise, you cannot grow your brand in a unidirection without having to depend entirely on the product succeeding commercially to the degree that it gets escape velocity. What is escape velocity? Escape velocity is like the prize money literally becomes like 80 to 100 million rupees. You can make this a 6-month long season, and then you make it all Pakistan all the time. That's what escape velocity is. You're not getting there for the first 2, maybe 3 years at the very least. And if you do get there, that probably means all the other tournaments are also leveling up, because there's no form of exclusion. Like, it just doesn't exist. Oh, also, you don't have national ranking points either, so it's not even like you've got incentives like the national cups to get people to care more. I think the entire bidding process is going to make this league very difficult to succeed. And I want it to succeed, right? Like, I think this is an awesome initiative. I think this is so much resources being put in. I think this is so much, this is clearly people who care about the ecosystem in Pakistan. It would be great if it works. It can't right now, though. And I will do everything I can to try and make it work. If they ask to work with me, by the way, I will. I think this is an awesome initiative. That being said, the bidding process doesn't make sense. It needs to change. The only reason why I'm making this video is so that hopefully people can understand what is a very complicated topic. Right now, it doesn't make sense for the players. It makes sense for the clubs, but that's because the clubs don't need to make money off of sponsorships. The clubs can just make money off of, getting lucky in a tournament win, because you're getting a fair bit of money back into you. You're not making much money, but at least it's fun and it is a sporting exercise. And I would actually encourage clubs to sign up for this. I think this makes sense for you, but it only makes sense for the clubs. It doesn't make sense for the league. It doesn't make sense for the players. And it doesn't make sense for what I think is the best for paddle in Pakistan. That being said, maybe I'm wrong. Feel free to let me know. I'm always open to any criticism. I think you're probably wrong about it, though.